All right, Krystal, what's on your radar?
The vague, optimistic platitudes, the promise of generational change, which really just means the status quo, only from a younger dude. The rapid ascent through the echelons of elite status, providing reassurance that the American meritocracy is functioning just fine and is not, in fact, a rotten, soulless fraud designed to rob the masses of dignity. It all strikes a certain chord, a dog whistle of bland aspiration of the kind you'd find on a motivational poster at the dentist office that arrives to the ears of its target generation at a perfect pitch.
To meet these challenges and to defeat this president, we need real solutions, not more polarization. I'm Pete Buttigieg, and I approve this message because acting together to conquer these challenges is the only way forward.
That's right. Mayor Pete is the boomer candidate. Now, the boomers I'm talking about here are the affluent sort, the college-educated MSNBC-watching type. This is not just my guess, although it certainly would be my guess without numbers to back it up, but the numbers do, in fact, back it up. There's a new Monmouth poll out that has a three-way tie for the national lead. We're going to talk about that more later, but buried in the crosstabs, you'll find that while Pete has garnered a mere 5% of supporters under 50, a full 12% of the over 50 crowd is pining for Pete. Economist YouGov has the most detailed crosstabs, and they've consistently found that Pete's strongest age support came from those over the age of 45. Quinnipiac, same deal. As best I can tell, this is a demographic appeal which is unique to Pete. Obviously, the young folks love Bernie, and the old folks, they love Biden, but only Pete jacks up the score squarely in that boomer zone. So what is it about the Pete pitch that lands with that 55 to 75-year-old demo? Well, to start with, boomers love the idea of appealing to young people. They just don't like the revolutionary change politics that comes with actually appealing to young people. There's something so perfectly boomer about thinking that the way to win millennials is simply by talking about being a millennial. This, of course, is the Mayor Pete way. Forget about devastating climate change, massive debt loads, poverty wages, and living in a 6th-floor walk-up closet with four of your friends. Bloomberg is actually reporting right now on a new study showing how the opioid crisis and decades of endless wars have wreaked havoc on the health of millennials. Massive problems requiring systemic change way beyond just beating Trump. But none of this seems to register for the affluent boomer who believes if we just bring in a young person to say the same old crap, then the young people will love it. I guarantee you that if you asked Pete's boomer supporters where he gets most of his support from, they would tell you it's from those under 30. I see this all the time in the media world. Someone in management will create a new show or product that they want to appeal to millennials, and they go about it by giving people titles like millennial correspondent and just saying the word millennial a lot. Those projects always get funding and never get views. Let me ask you this, boomer. Do you like the idea of everyone getting health care coverage as long as it doesn't cost you anything and you still get to be at the front of the line? Pete's your guy with Medicare for those who want it. Do you like the feeling of doing something about climate without having to actually change your day-to-day life or reorient your consumers' values? Pete is there to reassure you on his website that as big as this crisis is, our ideas and aspirations are big enough to meet it. Do you believe that our biggest problem is our lack of civility, but also spend countless hours a day watching strangers yell at each other on cable news? Then Mayor Pete, who loves to talk about the things that unite us, except when he's laying into Elizabeth Warren or Beto O'Rourke, is the candidate for you. And then there's this. I rest my case. You see, for boomer elites, admitting that there are actually real issues with the system means admitting that they screwed stuff up. They're all about change as long as it doesn't mean, anything will actually change for them. They're all the way in for a good, hopeful optimism that says, sure, things aren't perfect, but I'm a McKinsey consultant and Rhodes Scholar, and our dreams are as big as our aspirations, which can be achieved if we just work together towards a greater goodness of our unified perfection, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Plus, he's gay, so just electing him counts as progress, right? Yeah. Okay, boomer. Sagar, really felt like I was channeling you on this one.
Yeah, you definitely did. You're speaking my language. And it was funny, I was just looking more at the OK Boomer meme.
Right.
It's been taking off.
Well, the New York Times wrote about it, so now boomers know about it.
Yeah, right, and they're very upset because they're like, we built this country, don't you understand? And it's like, yeah, you also crashed us into debt, and whatever, I digress.
Yeah.
But you very much are speaking my language on this one, and it's so funny because Buttigieg, in this way, very much encapsulates that Obama hope and change, which while not actually doing anything about it whenever you get into office.
Right, except far less skillfully than Obama.
They believe so much in like this optimism because it's like the bill of goods that they ultimately sold the millennial generation and others in order to saddle them with debt. They're like, you can be just like me if you take this, student debt with a $50,000 and can't own a home and structured our current economy
Just get another
this way.
credit card.
Exactly. But they're like, but we were able to do it. And that like optimism is what they want to see reflected in American politics. That's why they like Joe Biden and they like Pete Buttigieg.
Right.
Because they're like, what's wrong with this country? My life is fine. My Social Security check comes on time. And when I go to the doctor, I can use Medicare. And they just physically can't understand what life is like for everybody else.
Well, it's the essence of, and again, we should make clear, we're talking about like affluent boomers. There are plenty of boomers who are struggling.
Yes.
They're not the ones that we're talking about in the okay boomer
Right.
whole archetype, right?
I saw that from Bhaskar Sinkar over at Jacobin. He was like, well, hold on a second. There's some boomers who are really suffering in this country. And sure.
But they're not the ones supporting Pete Buttigieg.
Right.
But, I mean, it is sort of encapsulated in when Biden's whole pitch is just like, this is America. As if like we just got to get this guy out of office and then it's all good because we set this system up. It worked for us. Ergo, why should we change anything? We just assume that it's going to work for you without actually digging into the fact that it is not working for anyone besides this like small thin layer.
I think I highlighted one of these clips in my past monologues whenever he was like, I was asked by Xi Jinping, what is America? And I said one word, possibilities. I'm like, that's the most boomer Social Security answer that you could ever say. What possibilities? For whom? A lot of people who are graduating college are like, I don't see any possibilities right here. Or even whenever you graduate from high school, what are your possibilities if you actually want to stay in your hometown and make a living where your parents did or your grandparents did or be close to your family? Forget about it. There's no possibilities for you.
I mean, you think of when this generation came of age, you're talking about the Iraq War, you're talking about a financial collapse, now you're talking about a massive opioid crisis, you're talking about spiking suicide rates, like
student debt.
Crushing student debt, unaffordability of healthcare, like that is the reality, and just saying like our dreams are bigger than our aspirations or whatever is not really gonna
what does we want real solutions mean? It means nothing. It's a meaningless nothing burger. And it's like it's just meant to cloak you in this like warm embrace of I'm actually trying to do something and help this country without doing anything.
Yeah.
That's what they don't want. They don't want to do anything about the problem.
It is pretty funny though when you look at the polling data, and I looked like at 20 different polls, and they are all the same. The boomers love Pete. All right, Sagar, looking forward to your radar next.